Good evening. I'm Maria Laukai with the New Dawn FM News. The headlines: shortage of fuel affect police patrolling the region. Bougainville House to sit for April. Strong wind warning. South Bougainville COVID-19 response team receive funds. And South Bougainville health team undergoes first training. The news in detail. The SOE controller and Bougainville Police Commissioner Francis Tokoro said that the Bougainville Police Service is having shortage of fuel that hindering them from patrolling and monitoring people's movements during the SOE period. SOE controller said police officers from all the three regions, North, Central and South, have stopped patrols since yesterday. Mr. Tokora said police services are having shortage of fuel because of the lack of funds. He said it is only the second week of the SOE and police services is still having difficulties in accessing funds for fuel and other logistical support. The Bougainville House of Representatives' next sitting has been fixed to Tuesday, April 14, 2020. This is according to a notice from the Speaker Simon Pentanu issued on the 27th March calling for the ABG members to attend the April sitting. According to the message from the Speaker, the sitting will start at 2 p.m. in the afternoon. According to the Bougainville Constitution, and because there is a current state of emergency in place, the state of emergency would end 2 days before the House meets. Under Section 198 of the Bougainville Constitution on state of emergencies, the Parliament is required to meet to approve if the state of emergency would continue or is revoked. For this to happen, the sitting date has to be moved to a date much earlier. And under the same section, if the SOE is extended, then it would be for a term not exceeding 2 months. The PNG Weather Service and the National Maritime and Safety Authority with the Bougainville Disaster Office have issued strong wind warning for all Bougainville waters for the next 24 hours. The strong wind warnings issued yesterday still continue for the next 24 hours. Strong southwesterly winds are expected with wind speed between 25 to 33 knots, causing high waves and rough seas. Seas are expected to rise between 1 to 2.5 meters during the next 24 hours. There could be scattered showers with isolated thunderstorms during this period. All small boats traveling between islands of New Ireland and Bougainville are strongly asked to remain on shore until the weather improves. You are listening to New Dawn FM News. The South Bougainville COVID-19 Preparedness and Emergency Response Team has received a timely funding boost of 100,000 kina to undertake programs and activities to prepare South Bougainville to counter the COVID-19 pandemic. The 100,000 kina is part of 1.5 million funding assistance to the response team approved by the South Bougainville District Development Authority Board at its recent meeting in Buin. Priority programs and activities already underway include awareness, which also entails sensitizations and training of health workers and stakeholders, as well as surveillance and control of movements along the PNG Solomon Islands border. A 6-month work plan has been drawn by the response team, upon which a budget was also drawn up and submitted to the South Bougainville GDA board for deliberation and approval. Chairman of the South Bougainville COVID-19 Preparedness and Emergency Response Team, Peter Kamwais, thanked the member and Minister Matthew for his proactiveness in responding to the need to prepare South Bougainville to face the pandemic. Mr. Kamwais said that besides the priority activities that are being undertaken, the response team needed to also commence work on preparing an isolation center as well as important administrative and logistics requirements. He said South Bougainville was ahead of other regions in Bougainville in its preparations and thanked Mr. Matthew for providing the leadership and support. The Minister for Information, Communication and Technology and member for South Bougainville, Timothy Matthew, has told health workers in South Bougainville that as frontliners, they are now the sacrificial lamb in the war against the deadly COVID-19 pandemic. Minister Matthew said the country may not have the best health facilities and health workers may not have the protective gear and vaccines, but they have information, skills, and the zeal to bravely face this unseen enemy with God. Mr. Matthew's speech was delivered on his behalf by his second secretary, Chris Nawa, during a one-day training of trainers workshop for all heads of health facilities in South Bougainville and district executive managers was conducted in Buin yesterday. The TOT is a priority program, the South Bougainville COVID-19 Preparedness and Emergency Response Team Preparation Work Plan aimed at creating awareness and educating the South Bougainville population to prepare for the COVID-19. A similar workshop will be conducted tomorrow, Friday, for community government chairmen and other stakeholders to also prepare them to support and work with the health workers during the awareness in their respective community government areas. Today, as you sit and go about this, I appeal on behalf of the both governments, the ABG and national government, and our South Bougainville population to give it all your heart. There is no other time for you to show to the nation how much you value. I today, on behalf of the both governments, salute you all and bless you all to volunteer yourself as a sacrificial lamb for our nation and people. As a responsible government, we want to make it known to you, all our citizens, that we are much concerned with the lives of our people and stand ready to address this pandemic as best as we can. Minister Matthew highly commended the health workers for responding positively to attend the workshop at a short notice because it was the highest call of duty due to the COVID-19 pandemic that is causing panic, fear, and anxiety amongst the human race in many countries, and PNG and Arab were no exception. Take your profession with pride and remember that our nation and citizens are with you in prayers and see you all as our heroes. Of course, you are our heroes. Bear in mind that we are at war. Our preparations must be good. We must be well prepared in all areas, physically, socially, mentally, and spiritually. The minister reminded the health workers that our forefathers fought in World War II, but without helmets, body armors, and they wore lap-laps, but they defeated our enemies. He said he was emotional because he wished that he too could be there in the front line carrying out the fight. Our country does not have the best medical facilities and equipment, but you have God. You do not have enough protective gears, but you have the skills, knowledge, and the will to bravely face the unknown enemy, so face it with God. You may not have the vaccine, but learn and equip yourself with enough information to win the war physically. Give our unseen enemy no room or space to penetrate. Minister Matthew encouraged the health workers. Minister Matthew has given the initial funding of 100,000 kina for the South Bougainville response team to conduct awareness and surveillance activities. The workshops are being funded with this funding. Finally, to end the English bulletin, here are the news headlines again. Shortage of fuel affect police patrols in the region. Bougainville House to sit for April. Strong wind warning. South Bougainville COVID-19 response team receive funds. And South Bougainville health team undergo first training. This has been the New Dawn FM News in English. For more news, please visit the two New Dawn FM sites on www.bougainville.typet.com, www.bougainvillenews.com, and follow us on Facebook and Twitter, and also listen to us on New Dawn YouTube page. On behalf of the news team, I'm Maria Laukai. Happy listening.